been a long time coming. I haven't done one of these in so long. Shalom, brothers and sisters. I'm going to start repeating the same thing I be listening to this guy I listen to. Grace, peace, and blessings be unto you from the Father and from the Son. I hope everyone's doing well. Now, I said in the previous video about Truth Unedited, I was going to talk about Ezra. But, well, not a but there's so many things I want to talk about now. I actually have two parts to it, because in Ezra chapter 7, it's long. If anyone's ever read 2nd Ezra, it's very long. So I'm just going to not waste any time right now and get to it. The first one of Ezra, 2nd Ezra, I want to talk about. I wrote it down on my little envelope thing. I called it Yahuah ordained days. And we're going to figure that out in just a second. So please just, oh my goodness, just give me 1 second, man, because there's a lot of verses. I should have been more prepared, but, well, you know, I don't even know where to begin. I guess I'll start off in 44. Now remember, please, this is very long. And what I'm going to start off in is verse 44. I'll start off at verse 44 and end off at verse 74. So, let's begin. This is my judgment, and its appointed order, and to alone and you alone have I shown these. And I answered and said, O Yahuah, who reigns, and said then and say now, Baruch are those who are alive and guard your commandments. But what of those for whom I prayed, for who among the living have not sinned, or who is there among mortal man that has not transgressed your covenant? And now I see that the world to come shall but delight to few, but torture to many. For any evil heart has grown up within us, which has separated us from Elohim, and has brought us into corruption and the ways of death, and has shown us the paths of destruction, and removed us far from life. And not only for a few, but for almost all who have been created. And he answered me and said, Listen to me, Ezra, and I shall teach you, and shall admonish you once more. For this reason, the Most High has not made one world, but two. Because you have said that the righteous are few, while the wicked are many. Hear the explanation for this. If you have only a few precious stones, would you add lead and clay to them? And I said, Adonai, how could this be? And he said to me, Not only this, but ask the earth, and it shall tell you. Submit to it, and it shall declare to you. And say to it, You produce gold, and silver, and copper, and also iron, and lead, and clay. But silver is more plentiful than gold, and copper than silver, and iron than copper. and lead than iron, and clay than lead. So judge which is more precious and desirable, that which is plentiful or that which is rare. And I said, O Yahuah who reigns, what is plentiful is of less value, for what is rare is more precious. And here's the kicker. And this is where I'll start commentating. And he answered me and said, consider within yourself what you have thought. For the one who has what is hard to obtain rejoices more. That, sorry. I lost my spacing. Sorry about that. What is hard to obtain rejoices more than the one who has what is plentiful. So also shall be the judgment that I have promised. For I shall rejoice over the few who are saved, because it is they who have made my esteem or glory prevail, and through them my name has been esteemed, my name has been glorified. I shall not grieve over the great number of those who perish, for they are like mist, and are similar to a flame and smoke. They are lit on fire and burn with heat, and are extinguished. And I replied and said, O earth, what have you brought forth, if the mind is made out of dust, like the other? For it would have been better if the dust itself had not been brought forth, so that the mind might have not been made from it. But now the mind grows with us, and therefore we are tortured because we perish, and we know it. Let mankind lament, but let the beasts of the field be glad. Let all who have been born lament, but let the cattle and flocks rejoice. It is much better for them than for us, for they do not look to a judgment, and they do not know of any torture or deliverance promised to them after death. What does it profit us if our life is preserved, but we are cruelly tortured? For all who are born are entangled in wickedness, and are full of sins, and burdened with transgressions. And if we are not to come into judgment after death, perhaps it would have been better for us. Actually, I'm just going to finish it right here, and then I'll go back. And he answered me and said, when the Most High made the world, and Adam, and all who have come from him, he first prepared the judgment, and that which pertains to the judgment. But now, from your own words, for you have said that the mind grows with us. For this reason, therefore, those who live on earth shall be tortured, for though they had knowledge, they committed wickedness. And although they received the commandments, they did not guard them. And though they obtained the law, they dealt untrustworthily with what they had received. What then shall they have to say in the judgment? Or what shall they answer in the last days. How long the Most High has been patient with the inhabitants of the world, and not for their sakes, but because of the day that he has ordained. Again, I was about to say Enoch. That's 2nd Ezra chapter 7, verse 44 to 74. So I'm not gonna lie to you, it shocks me, and I don't know every single detail to that verse, but the ones that are just catching my eye, I just want to, give my little thoughts on it. Now I gotta go back. Where was I? The one I wanted to talk about. Dang. This is why I gotta go. I have to talk about it right then and there if I'm gonna commentate on it, because if I don't, oh my goodness, my mind blanks out, and it's all because of social media. That's my own fault. I got hooked into the whole scrolling thing, and now I'd be just having quick signs of dementia or whatever you want to call it. I'd just be forgetting now quickly, and it's sad. It's very sad. And I'm only 29. My goodness. Man, oh man. But because the explanation, clay. Well, the clay. I mean the clay and the gold and stuff like that. That one's pretty much explanatory. There we go. I just needed to remember that. So here I've been talking about, I maybe have said, I remember at least from one of my videos, I talked about that it must be hurtful for him, that from just reading his, regular Bible, the biblical, just from reading his Bible of the first and second covenant, I only know just so much. I mean, not so much, but just enough that I thought I knew the Most High and how he works, or like how he, I should say, feels. I thought, right, that's the word right there. I thought that, I guess you could say, I leaned toward my own understanding and assumed that when judgment comes and all that stuff happens, that, while the righteous reign forever and ever, I would have thought, like in the background, like let's say 2,000 years pass now, and the righteous are still reigning and stuff like that, just continuing doing righteous things. I thought, the Most High would be, in the back of his mind, something like that, that he would still be weeping that so many of his children that he had created are gone. They're just laying there in the lake of fire continuously. But I gotta forget, I gotta remember I'm not the Most High. And how he thinks, how he does, is not the way how I do. I see it from my carnal mind, or my fleshly mind, I should say. And that was back here where he has said that he would not weep. He would not weep over the many, but that he will rejoice over the few, because they prevailed and they esteemed his name. So I guess I can simply say that those who perish, he really don't care. He's not going to care. it reminds me just of the days of Noah after he cleansed it up and stuff like that. Well, I think that's what it made me remember, because he said that he repented from it, that he said he would not do something like that again. So yeah, I guess when I thought of that, it made me think that, he's going to be heartaching again, but, he doesn't forget, obviously, but he's not going to weep over it or remember those days. I don't know. It's just, I just found that interesting, and I got to just remember who he is, and I got to keep moving to knowing who he is. Moving forward, that was Second Ezra, chapter 7, verse 44 to 74. That's pretty much what I just really wanted to talk about on that one. I think maybe now, when I reread it, there might be something else I wanted to talk about. Oh, his ordained days. Yeah, the reason many of us are still living, and why judgment hasn't cruelly hit us, is simply because it's he has ordained days, and just what I mean by that is everything is already set in stone. Like, whenever this happens, whatever he's going to do on this day and that day, it's already set. It's not like he's going to be like, oh, wait, let me change this up for this particular person. No. We ain't that special, everybody. We may be his chosen, but look, I just thought to myself, as I've been listening to one of these brothers and his studies on the commandments, the laws, and the statutes. It was read in Deuteronomy, I believe, chapter 5, that when we lay down, when we get up, when we walk, wherever we go, we should be talking about Yahuah. So as I was waking up just now, at first I got up, sadly I got on my phone, habit I need to definitely destroy greatly. But after I recognized it, after I took notice of it, put it down, then I just laid my head back down and just started giving thanks to the Father, talking about him. And then boom, something came to my thoughts. And it just had me wonder, I can't remember it now. Yeah, it's really bad. It's really bad. It's really bad. Wow. But as I was just giving him thanks, it was just crazy, just that how spoiled we are. That's what I remember now. It's about, well, not all of us, I can only speak for me, how spoiled I am. How spoiled America has made me. And I praise Yah that his ordained days have not yet come yet. And what I mean by that is where he's going to take us into the wilderness, when he's going to take Yasharel into the wilderness and then pluck out the rebels. Just like it's literally like Ecclesiastes has said, like, nothing's new under the sun. What happened back then is going to be the same. It's just obviously the difference is technology, people, stuff like that, but it's just like he said in Malachi, chapter 3, verse 6. He does not change. So what happened back then is going to happen again. He's going to bring us out of our captivity, as many promises, like in Ezekiel and stuff like that, have said. He's going to bring us out, and then we're going to be in the wilderness again. But this time he's going to pluck out the rebels before he lets the righteous into his kingdom. He's got to pluck out the rebels. And right now, again, I always try to be honest with myself. Even the conviction's hitting me right now as I think of it, because I already know what I'm about to say. I would be a rebel. I would definitely be a rebel. And this is why he's giving us, well, not giving us, but I'm just thankful that he knew us from the beginning and the end, because I don't know how far his ordained day is when he's going to bring us out, but it's still not here, and he's giving me, you, and all of us time to cleanse ourselves, to get right for him, because he's not taking any rebels into that kingdom. We're not walking in to the land unclean. It's just not going to happen. And you know, sometimes when people think of the rebels, they think of just the camps, those guys that preach hate and say that Gentiles aren't allowed in or not accepted. Pray for them, please. But nah, it's just whoever's wicked. Simply, that's all. Those who aren't really having a heart for Yahuah and loving their neighbor as themselves. But yeah, I would be considered as a rebel if his ordained day was today and he took us out. And I need to really, really work on myself. It's tough because I'm battling many demons, from falling short to, my lustful acts. And, it's bothersome, because now I gotta really reap what I've sown to myself. Even though I cast out some demons out of myself, there's many I have to cleanse out from prayer and fasting. But as I'm in my mind, and I just, how do I put it? Mentally watch myself, or I guess spiritually watch myself, I can see how I act, like how my flesh, sometimes I do things out of my own control for no reason at all. And I could just instantly know that that's one of my demons acting out of my flesh when I'm trying to purge it. I act recklessly, foolishly, just like, it's just really crazy, man. But I have to go through it in order to purge them out. So I got a long way to go, and hopefully I'll have enough time to get these out before he brings us into the wilderness and starts plucking the rebels out. Because, man, I keep saying it to myself, but yet it seems I just don't really. It seems I'm not believing in myself, or something like that. But I gotta let go of these fleshly desires, the ways of this world, because hellfire for all eternity. My goodness, like people really just don't know what forever and ever means. Like, we'll be burning forever. I don't even want to think of the images on it, or how that really works. But it's just insane, man. I really don't want to be burning forever. So I need to lock in. I can only speak for myself. I can say for you guys to lock in, but like, I think you guys already know, if you have examined yourself daily like I do, I think you already know that you gotta lock in too. So I don't even have to say it. But for me, I really need to lock in. Aside from that, I'm doing much better to loving my neighbor as myself, though. But, you know, just as James said, if you fall to one command in the Torah, then you fall to all. So, this adultery thing, this lusting of the heart has to go. And I'm greatly working on it now. So, I hope everyone found some type of edification from this. To the next video. I'm going to do it now. So, it's going to be 2nd Ezra chapter 7, verse 75 to what end? That I'm not sure. But it seems I'm going to call the video Walking the Earth 7 Days After Death. A lot of times we don't know what we assumed or believed from church or Christianity, Catholic. We've learned from religion that what we assumed after we die, that we just go to heaven or we go to hell, or that as the Catholics have said, they think we just sit in purgatory waiting till judgment to be decided. I wonder why they call it 7 days. And why am I walking the earth? We'll find out in the next video. But until next time, everyone, thank you. Stay blessed. I love you all. And until next time, shalom.